Hi, it's Tuesday, June 10th, and I continue to read and wonder my way through Matthew's Gospel. And today we're in Matthew chapter 9, verses 14 through 17. And I have described this part of Matthew's Gospel as like a photo album where we just keep flipping a page and looking at another picture of Jesus. This happened, this happened, this happened. Matthew has collected them together for us and connected them because Matthew feels they're connected. Whether they are chronological or not doesn't matter. They're worth looking at on their own, and yet there's maybe a slight connection. And I think there's a connection in this one with the one that precedes it. Not chronologically, but Matthew's inviting us to think about it. So yesterday we heard about the calling of Matthew to become an apostle. Matthew goes from being a tax collector to a follower of Jesus like that. And the Pharisees are all, oh, Jesus spending time with the wrong kind of people. Why isn't he with the holy and the righteous? And Jesus answers that by inviting them to consider their own prophetic tradition and to wonder about what faith really is and what their mission is. But so that happens, and then we switch it. So we're going to have some outsiders wondering what the heck's going on, and now we're going to hear about some insiders going, what the heck's going on. So at least that's how I'm seeing it so far, but we'll see what you think. So it's Matthew 9, verses 14 through 17. Then the disciples of John came to Jesus, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast? And Jesus said to them, the wedding guests cannot mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them, can they? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old cloak, for the patch pulls away from the cloak, and a worse tear is made. Neither is new wine put into old wineskins. Otherwise the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, so that both are preserved. So, in short, the followers of Jesus, the early followers of the way, the early church, you had a whole bunch of Jews who had always been Jewish, followed all the rules, following Jesus. You had a bunch of people who had been following John the Baptist, following Jesus, who were also traditional Jews. They kept kosher. They did all those things. They fasted, all the right things. And they did a couple other things. They were a unique Jewish sect, but they were primarily Jewish. Now, following Jesus, we've got a variety of people here, including, it would seem, some Gentiles. And some people who are not fasting, who are not following the traditional, well, following the rules of, or the customs of the followers of John, following the rules and the customs of traditional pious Jews. And of course, everybody thinks that their expression of faith is the normative one, the normal one. And so they're asking, so what's going on? We, the Pharisees, I mean, we're different, but we fast. We do the Jewish thing. But your disciples, they're not doing the Jewish thing. They're not fasting. Why not? So it's not just the people outside, the Pharisees, it's also the people inside, followers of John, who are going, what's going on here? And Jesus says to them, remember yesterday he said to the Pharisees, do you not remember that God is looking for mercy, not sacrifice? To these people, Jesus says, the wedding guests cannot mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them, can they? A sense that a lot of the traditions of the Jewish faith are ways of reaching out and connecting to God. But Jesus is God reaching out and connecting to humanity. So God is present. There is no distance to overcome. So those rituals that help you overcome the distance, why would you do that? Because God's presence is right here, right now. So acknowledge that. Live into that. Wedding guests cannot mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them. Don't be sad that God is distant when God is clearly not distant. Don't be sad that you don't understand the faith when the faith is right here, inviting you into learning and into growing. There will come a time, he's saying, absolutely, when the bridegroom is taken away and they will fast. But right now, what do you people... So he's trying to remind them, don't you get who I am? And clearly they don't. Some people are following Jesus because he is compelling. Some people is following Jesus because they have grown weary of their piety, their faith, whether that's as followers of John the Baptist or more traditional Jews. They've grown weary of it. It's not working. So let's see if Jesus is a real change. And Jesus is reminding them that, yeah, he is a real change. So that means those old things that you did, not saying they're bad things, but they're not necessary things. And the challenge for me as I think about that in my life in the 21st century, what old things do I hold on to that really don't speak to the present, don't speak to me, don't do the things that I thought that they could or should do? I can remember just a little over 16 years ago when I first came to the church I'm at now, which is Jubilee United Church, and I came and I met with the worship committee before I'd started my job. I'd been hired, but the start date hadn't come. But I came and met with the worship committee. So we're having that first meeting, and I remember at the time talking to people. What do they do on Sunday? What are the rituals? And they had a bunch of things that they did. Some of which were new to me, some of which were bizarre to me, some of which were like, "Ooh, that's a cool thing" to me. And I said to them, I said, well, you know what? Whatever we decide to do today and next year and the year after, and I didn't know I'd be sticking around as long as I have, goodness knows, lucky me. But whatever we do, as long as we have a reason for doing it, a reason other than we've always done it that way. So, it's always like, so why are you doing this now? What does that mean to you? Is it accomplishing the thing that you hoped it would? That was my challenge to the worship committee at the time. And some of the things that they did, we talked about what they meant symbolically. What were they communicating? What were they facilitating? What were they doing? Some things they couldn't tell me why they did them. They didn't know, because we just did. My predecessor did some things. I go, why did he do that? And how did you feel about it? And they went, I don't know why he did it. Didn't mean anything to me. And I'd say, well, symbolically, I think it means this, which is the opposite of what we want to say. And we went, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. So what can we do to say what we want to say? And we came up with things. And over 16 years we've been there, we have changed things a lot. If you look at the way we worshipped as a community 15 years ago and the way we worship as a community now, or pre-virtual, lot of change. A lot of things are different because we have changed and we're different. But I sympathize with the desire to keep things the same because sometimes it's a lot easier if you can do the same thing over and over again. Something at a time, there's a comfort in that. I'm going, oh, okay, good, we're back to the familiar, and I need that consistency. It reminds me that God is always with me, and that I can rely on some things. Great. But does everything have to be that way? And then to wonder about it. So it's not just automatically throw out what's old, but understand why you're doing it, and does it make sense in this time and place, in this context? Jesus is saying fasting doesn't make sense in this time and place. However you experience fasting and whatever you think it means for you, Jesus is saying, yeah, but you don't need that right now. Because I'm here. And there will come a time when I'm not, which isn't a threat, but Jesus to me is saying, end times will change, so then be ready to change. So it's not just about, oh, you're doing things wrong, now start doing them right. It's no. What are the things that are appropriate to the time and the place, to the needs of the people, to the needs of God? What is God asking of us in this time and place? And then be aware that those things can change. So it's not a matter of just getting it right. And I will confess from time to time, I like, oh, good, we've got it right, and now I don't want to change it. But times change, so you do make changes, or you should. That's what this reminds me of. And then Jesus points that out beautifully, and I love these examples. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth in an old cloak. So I don't know if there's any folk here who are good at repairing clothes. I mean, most of us now will buy new ones. But if you have a hole in your clothes, in a smock and your jeans even, and you get brand new denim and sew it into your old jeans. After you've washed it a couple times, you're gonna find that new denim has shrunk differently than your old denim. So you wash it first. You wash it a few times. You age it, and then you sew it in. When it's a similar cloth, you sew it in. So then it works. And what Jesus seems to be saying to me here is, this is a new thing happening. So don't try to sew it into the old. I don't think he's saying make what we do really old so it fits in. I think he's saying, don't sew this into the old because it will not help the garment. It pulls everything apart. So fine. If you want to hold to those traditions, that's fine. Do that. But if you want to follow me, then be prepared to do some things differently, because I'm not going to fit into your old garment. I'm not here to fix what is broken. I'm here to offer a different way, a new perspective. I am new wine, and if you pour me into your old wineskin, you're going to find that I might break it. I am going to push in different ways. So get rid of your old wineskin. Be prepared to be filled a new way. And I find that fantastic challenge, because I know if there are times that I take, this wonderful thing that I've learned in this new way, this is great, and then I want to fit it into the old way, and boom, I find them at odds with each other, and I end up hurting something that has been comforting and familiar, and not giving the thing that is new an opportunity to really flourish and be shown. I have made a terrible mistake. They didn't belong together. Better to move this one aside and experience this new thing in its new way. So basically, I've just now explained this to you, and I'm sure you already know this and you've figured it out. But I do invite you to think sometimes, to wonder about times when you may have taken something new and in a desire to fit it into the old, discover that it doesn't really work that way, right? So I invite you to consider that. You may have just heard my cat meow, because apparently she has an opinion on this too. But I think that we all have examples of that, and sometimes we do it with people. We can do it with ministers. Somebody new comes into our life. Could be a leader. Could be a relationship. Could be a member of the community who has come along and taken on a job that was done by somebody else. And we expect them to do it the way the old person did it. And in our demanding them to do it that way, not only do we frustrate them and bother them, but we lose the opportunity to discover a new way of doing things. We lose that inspiration. And resentment happens, and then pretty soon nothing's working because we tried so hard to fit new wine into old wineskins. Why can't my new best friend be just like my old best friend? And I demand that person act like somebody that they are not. Yeah, that doesn't work. Why can't the new minister be exactly like the old minister? Because they're not the same. And the harder I try to make that new one act like the old one, the more I rupture the relationship that I have with that individual, but sometimes also with the institution that the individuals are part of, the church, a job, a family. Why can't you be more like your brother? He was awesome when he did this. Yeah, I'm different. So I invite you to wonder about this a little bit today, and I'm gonna call it quits for now. I'm gonna stop my wondering. So it's a short one today, but I invite you to wonder a little bit about those times that you may have been tempted to sew new cloth into old fabric, and what is this story telling you? Yeah, but enough of me. I'm gonna leave it with you. Let me offer a prayer. Loving God, we thank you for the wisdom of Jesus and the compassion of Jesus. We thank you for the promise and and the caution that conditions change, and so does faith. That the wineskins don't always stay the same, and all the cloth doesn't stay the same. Some things get torn. New wine needs new wineskins. New times need new responses. And there may be nothing wrong with the old, but if we don't really think about the old things in new ways, well, then our faith becomes nothing but nostalgia. So God, help us to be more than nostalgic. Help us to be faithful. We pray through the Holy Spirit and in Jesus' name. Amen. That's enough of me today, but I do hope that we get to check in with each other tomorrow. Until we do, God bless you. Please know that God sees you, God loves you, and God loves through you. People's lives are different because God moves through you. Bless you for that, and we'll see you tomorrow.